Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is December 31st, and on today's podcast, we will be covering the lights in the skies over New York City. The video that you just saw coming into this podcast was actually taken hours after the Transformers, quote-unquote Transformers, exploded, and I found it to be extremely intriguing. Was it extraterrestrials? What were there drones? Was this CGI implanted into the video? The thought is still out there. The jury is still out. A lot of Anons have their own opinion on this, which we will get into later in the podcast. But before we go any further, would you please go ahead and click the bell to get notifications for when I post? You'll be the first to know. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at True Reporting. And don't forget to leave a like. The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So days after all this took place, I really wanted to just kind of see what the aftermath was, what everyone thought about it, because everyone has their own opinion on it. And we can just go through some memes, and you can come up with your own theory, but everyone has their own, right? So let's go ahead and go forward into this. So we see a post from Q, 1948, post 1948 from August 28th, and it says, "Blue skies for clown operation." And we all know of the blue skies that were taking place over New York City. A lot of people couldn't even believe it, right? They didn't even know what was going. They thought it was some sort of doomsday scenario. This is the picture they're talking about. Blue skies operation. Could be that. That is a speculatory scenario, a theory, but nevertheless, it does say the words blue skies, and we know that we are dealing with a deep state. We see here, this is 11/27, I believe, the day that it took place, and I believe this is from Jordan Sather's Twitter. We see here, let's check out here. He says, "Personally, I think the video is CGI'd. The materialization of the craft at the end did not look real. Plus, with the raw sightings footage like this, you usually hear the person behind the camera screaming, 'What the F is that?' A non-reaction is often a sign of a doctored video." And that very well may be the case. The guy did have music over it in the background. Not the music that I used, but he may have brought down what was being said and just kind of edited it. And again, New York is known for a lot of, filmmakers and stuff like that. A lot of people do know how to doctor videos. But in my opinion, besides the flash out, everything else looked pretty real. I wanted to show you this. This is also from the Chans. It says, "Holy shizzle, just read the Benghazi server thread. My first thought was that it sounds like FBI Anon, but absolutely unleashed." And we remember FBI Anon. This was a little bit before Q. Pretty much maybe like a scouting type thing scenario to see how Anons would take good information coming out and see the response and see how much of the foot traffic it could bring in. So it says, "Way too detailed and interwoven with truths already proven to be a LARP. Way too counterproductive to be a deep state psyop. It also explains all the moves, counter moves, and delays to the plan. It also explains Q's imploring Anons to pray in several of Q's drops. It also explains Hillary's what? Me worry? Demeanor over the last year. She believes that the ultimate dead man switch, a lack of concern over a possible public drop of the insurance file video, it's now evidence that Q team has been carefully and slowly diffusing her dead man switch, which I now believe has been fully diffused. If you don't know what a dead man switch, I believe Julian Assange had one, and basically it's knowing that she really is dead. It's basically a code that they have to put in to show that she really is gone. There's a lot of terms for it, a lot of different, I'm paraphrasing, let's just say. I believe that those earthquakes in northern Iran and Syria were actually the destruction of a remaining Davy Crockett's, which were allegedly in Iran's possession. Popcorn, more popcorn, Anons, and trust the Patriots are in control. So we'll move forward from that just to get a little bit off topic, but we're back. And it says here, no, it's not a UFO. The explanation behind the purple light seen in Cleveland. This is only a month ago. And more of the same, guys. What is this going on? This isn't the Aurora Borealis by any means. Very strange. All these lights in the skies. All of this coming down. We know that we are in a physical and a spiritual war. So it could be anything, guys. This is the best picture that I saw from a distance that I wanted to share with you. Look at this. If you think that this is Transformers, I don't believe it is. I don't know what it is, but I concur with Corticon that it is not Transformers. And we could see here on 12/28, we see the states involved in a 911 outage: Washington, Colorado, California, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Indiana. Also, Louisiana was seeing lights. A lot of so-called Transformers were exploding. There's video out there if you want to check it out. Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Florida, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. 911 outages. So, you know, very strange. Over a dozen states, right? And it says here, breaking, 911 service across Washington state is down, likely due to a problem from CenturyLink networking. And I just did a podcast over CenturyLink. Anon basically broke it down. A definite deep state company, a monopoly. So definitely check that video out. I'll post it at the end of this one, a link to it. It also says reports indicate that parts of Texas are also experiencing 911 outages. So guys, this was everywhere, right? And you know, you think of the fact that we really are in a war. Like it's apparent, right? It's blatantly obvious that there is a deep state alliance war going on behind the scenes. And it says, ask yourself why 90% of our carrier fleets are currently docked in the USA for the first time in our naval history. Ask yourself why pictures were released this week of Navy SEAL teams in Iraq and submarines with DDS units returning to port. Ask yourself why the Department of Energy would tweet a picture of U.S. power grids right before the Queen's non-explosion explosion. It is because we have a space-deployed and or hypersonic drone deployed EMP weapon that makes all navies and aircraft and missiles and metal obsolete. Why risk our metal in a war zone? Safer here? Military would never increase risk by bringing home an entire carrier fleet, so this act must be to reduce risk. Risk of being harmed by our own EMP weaponry. Now ask yourself, if you were preparing to fight a battle against them in 2014 and you had to establish an order of operations based on a risk and reward, where would you start your plan and where would you end it? Get Trump elected as POTUS, legally, ethically, if not, Plan Z. Take over their communications, satellite, ULF, VLF, Huawei, Space Force. Gain control of rogue nukes and biological weaponry, North Korea, Syria, Iran, Ukraine. Weaken media mind controlled on population, Q, Anons, 4chan, 8chan, Twitters, and algorithms. Overcome Obama's secret pardons, catch them in new crimes, posted 1/20, 2017. Server financial fundings loop, Sanctions, tariffs, executive orders, Saudi Arabia, plus. Strengthen home front, tax cuts, military budgets, jobs, not mobs. Infiltrate and entrap NGOs, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Red, Plus, and You Said. So, yeah, that is a lot. We also have more. Infiltrate and entrap NGOs, right? Non-organic organizations, right? And we see here, block human trafficking routes, border, wall, ports, Houston, Long Beach, Miami. Absolutely. Wait for nations to wake up and catch up. Yellow vest, Brexit, Italy, Brazil, and Hungary. Establish control of the Senate and the Supreme Court of the United States. Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, 53-47, Gitmo. Bring back gold to end the Fed. Swift keys, gold deposits, blockchains. Seize infrastructure assets that can be used to harm us. Power plants, PG&E. Pretty much people were saying that was the cause of the California fires. Food, water, shipping. Destroy their bolt holes with EMP, not explosions. Under airports, power plants, reactors, cemeteries. It sure seems like the stage is very close to being complete, set for the takedown, which must be sudden, nothing to see here. So some people think it was an EMP. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of people have their own theories on this, speculations. Joe M says power plant explosions don't make the sky glow like a blue aurora. There is an active hot war on, and I agree with that. And this is Corticon. He is an electrician for 20 years, a master electrician. I like to say I'm a jack of all trades, masters of one. A transformer was on fire, but was it the chicken or the egg? Did the transformer cause the blue glow, or did the blue glow cause the transformer explosion? I've seen many transformer fires. This is a first. So a 20-year master electrician, a guy who follows Q, a guy who is, I've interviewed, he's a very rational person, a very educated person, says this was not due to transformers. So, it's pretty crazy. We see here Los Angeles Times says a cyber attack from the outside the U.S. hits newspapers across the country, preventing distribution, sources say. Again, the Los Angeles Times is part of the deep state. The mainstream media is the enemy of the people. We believe the intention of the attack was to disable infrastructure, more specifically servers, and opposed to looking to steal information, said the source. Who spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to comment publicly. So I just did a podcast that I released, maybe an hour ago, that detailed that the cause of all of these power outages was actually a deep state retaliation to try and knock out our back channel communications. We know that the only form of communication we have that is genuine is 8chan, and POTUS is President of the United States is Emergency Broadcasting System. Those two are reliable. The rest are not. So was it foiled? Was it, what actually happened? What was all this? This all took place in a matter of 2 days, right? Communication systems down, electrical grids down, 911 emergency call systems were down. A lot was going on. Over 12 states were being occupied by this. No other details about the origin of the attack were immediately available, including the motive. The source identified the attacker only as a foreign entity. So were they trying to take us to war or something? They're trying to keep that out there. And we all know they are against us. As you can see, this happened to me February 21st. Conspiracy theories about the Florida school shooting survivors have gone mainstream. And then you can scroll down here and see me right here trying to expose Hogue. And I know that's not how it's pronounced, but I don't want to say keywords. And let's see, I will go to this and then we'll round it up. 8chan is back up for those whose tender sensibilities aren't absolutely savaged by words. I firmly believe that the 9/11 or the 911 8chan outage was not deep state related. This is his opinion. But a stress test designed to ensure that the backup systems were all up and working effectively. Could be. 911 goes down. Emergency broadcasts send out a new number to call. 8chan goes down. People move to vote. QRV and continue, i.e. showing the people that they can adapt and overcome. Possibly, possibly. And the fact that POTUS stayed on messaging during that crisis in his tweets decodes firmly prove it. Had this been a deep state attack, the tweet messages would have pointed to different Q drops. You wondered why we have 2,600 Q drops? It's a communication matrix for Q, so they can keep us informed even when Q is silent. And this was another thread read app. So could be, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a stress test. This should possibly be reposted for a while back, just in case. 1027 ICANN will be used to censor the web soon. Probably why 8chan can be reached via IP addresses. So yeah, that's our back channel, guys. That is our back channel, and this is what we need to rely on, and we need to stay in contact with one another. So, was it aliens? Was it an EMP? Was it simply just an oversurge of power? The question is still out there. I believe it to be a deep state attack / using our own crafts, not non-terrestrial crafts. And with that being said, my friends, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at True Reporting, and don't forget to leave a like. You can also donate to this podcast by going to the description box below and clicking on my Patreon or my PayPal. And any donation is fine, just to keep the content coming and so that we can further continue with this podcast, right? So guys, I will talk to you soon. Expect a live stream tonight, maybe a call-in show around from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be safe out there, guys. Happy New Year's. Bye.